Bondi Beach shooting declared terrorist attack as Australia mourns deadliest anti-Semitic violence in recent history. Australia is in mourning after at least 11 people were killed in a mass shooting that targeted the Jewish community at Bondi Beach in Sydney, and attack authorities have formally declared a terrorist incident. The shooting occurred as hundreds of people gathered to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah, turning what was meant to be a religious and cultural celebration into one of the deadliest acts of anti-Semitic violence in the country's modern history. Police confirmed that the victims include men, women, and children, and that one of the deceased was an Israeli citizen, according to Israel's foreign ministry. Emergency responders rushed to the scene as gunfire erupted in a crowded public space, with witnesses describing chaos, panic, and people desperately trying to find cover along the beachfront promenade. Authorities say the attack appears to have been deliberately timed and targeted, coinciding with a Jewish religious observance and aimed at a densely packed civilian gathering. Attack declared terrorist incident. Australian police formally classified the shooting as a terrorist attack, citing the nature of the target, the timing of the violence, and evidence recovered at the scene. Officers confirmed that 2 suspects were involved in the incident. One suspect was shot and killed by police at the scene. The second suspect was taken into custody and remains in life-threatening condition at a hospital under police guard. Investigators have not released the identities of the suspects, pending notification of families and ongoing counter-terrorism inquiries. Police also revealed that explosive devices were discovered inside a nearby vehicle believed to be connected to the suspects. Bomb disposal units secured and removed the devices without further incident. Authorities have not disclosed the type of explosives or whether they were intended to be detonated during the attack. Law enforcement officials said the presence of explosives significantly elevated the threat level and underscored the seriousness of the planned violence. Prime Minister condemns evil, anti-Semitic terrorism. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese addressed the nation shortly after the attack, condemning the shooting in the strongest possible terms. "This was an act of evil, anti-Semitism and terrorism that has struck the heart of our nation," Albanese said. "An attack on Jewish Australians is an attack on every Australian." The Prime Minister emphasised national unity and vowed that authorities would use the full force of the law to pursue anyone responsible for terrorism or hate-based violence. He also praised the actions of police and emergency services, crediting them with preventing further loss of life. Albanese confirmed that federal and state authorities are working closely with Jewish community leaders to provide security, counseling services, and support for affected families. Israeli government reacts with horror and anger. Israeli officials responded swiftly to the attack, expressing shock, grief, and anger. Israel's foreign ministry confirmed that one Israeli citizen was among those killed, though the victim's name has not been publicly released. Several Israeli officials accused the Australian government of failing to adequately confront rising anti-Semitism, pointing to what they described as a global surge in anti-Semitic incidents over the past year. Statements from Israeli leaders emphasized that attacks on Jewish communities abroad are not isolated events, but part of a broader pattern of violence targeting Jews worldwide. King Charles and royal family issue statement. Britain's King Charles III and Queen Camilla released a statement expressing deep sorrow over the attack. In a message sent to the Australian people, the monarch said they were appalled and saddened by the most dreadful anti-Semitic terrorist attack, carried out on the first day of Hanukkah. Our hearts go out to everyone who has been affected so dreadfully, including the police officers who were injured while protecting members of their community, the statement read. King Charles praised emergency responders and civilians who acted during the crisis, saying their heroic actions no doubt prevented even greater horror and tragedy. He added that Australia's spirit of unity would endure, invoking the symbolism of Hanukkah itself. The light at the heart of the Hanukkah festival will always triumph over the darkness of such evil, the king said. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, also issued a message offering condolences and stating that they stand with the Jewish community in grief. Rabbi describes nephew's ordeal amid gunfire. Personal accounts have begun to emerge from survivors who were present during the shooting. Rabbi Levi Shemtiv, executive vice president of the American Friends of Lubavitch, told CNN that his nephew and young daughter were caught in the attack. He described to me how he was literally hiding as the shooting was going on, Shemtiv said. He was holding his daughter, praying. The bullets were whizzing right by him. The rabbi described the experience as horrific and said the incident has shaken Sydney's long-standing reputation as a multicultural and inclusive city. She says Sydney has always prided itself on multiculturalism, Shemtiv said. That sense of safety has been deeply shaken. Australia's Jewish community and Holocaust legacy. Australia is home to one of the largest Jewish communities in the Southern Hemisphere and has the largest population of Holocaust survivors outside of Israel. Many Jewish families emigrated to Australia after World War II seeking safety and stability. Rabbi Shemtiv noted that survivors rebuilt their lives in Australia and made lasting contributions to the nation's economic, cultural, and civic development. This country represented refuge, he said. That's why this attack cuts so deeply. Jewish organizations across Australia have since increased security at synagogues, schools, and community centers, while urging members to remain vigilant. National Terrorism Threat Level explained. At the time of the attack, Australia's national terrorism threat level was set at probable, according to government authorities. This designation means there is more than a 50% likelihood of a terrorist attack being planned or carried out within the next 12 months. The threat scale includes 5 levels: certain, expected, probable, possible, not expected. According to Australia's national security agencies, the country is currently in a vulnerable period, facing evolving threats from lone actors and small groups using readily available weapons. Security officials have repeatedly warned that crowded public places in major cities are the most likely targets, and that attacks may involve simple tactics with devastating consequences, a description that aligns closely with the Bondi Beach shooting. Police response and public safety measures. Police established a wide security cordon around Bondi Beach and evacuated nearby areas following the attack. Roads were closed, public transportation rerouted, and beach access suspended while investigators conducted forensic examinations. Authorities confirmed that several police officers were injured while responding to the scene. Their injuries were not believed to be life-threatening. In the days following the attack, security has been heightened across Sydney, particularly around religious sites, tourist locations, and large public events. Officials urged the public to remain alert but emphasized there is no indication of an ongoing threat related to the incident. National and international condemnation. Condemnation poured in from world leaders, human rights organizations, and religious groups. Statements consistently described the shooting as an act of terror driven by hatred and anti-Semitism. Australian officials stressed that hate-based violence would not be tolerated and that perpetrators would be prosecuted under terrorism laws, which carry the most severe penalties available in the legal system. Community vigils have been planned across Australia, with thousands expected to attend memorials honouring the victims. The investigation remains active. Authorities are analysing digital devices, vehicles, and materials recovered from the scene. Counter-terrorism units are examining whether the suspects had links to extremist networks or acted independently. Police have urged the public not to speculate about motives or identities while the investigation continues, warning that misinformation could cause further harm. Officials said additional details would be released as soon as it is appropriate and verified.